We're learning that the National Archives has more than 5,000 emails containing pseudonyms Biden used while serving as vice president. He used 3 different pseudonyms to communicate, including with his son, Hunter. Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk with me now. Congressman, what is the significance of using pseudonyms?
Well, thanks for having me on with you, Stuart. It's been a little while, but look, these pseudonyms are important because they indicate that then Vice President Biden was trying to hide his identity, which would make you think that he is involved in something he shouldn't be involved with. And this is very significant, especially as you were talking about, we're on the cusp of launching an impeachment inquiry. And so I think this is very damning for the President Biden, who was then vice president. And I think this is very, very significant.
Congressman, Trump's federal trial date has been set for March the 4th in Washington, D.C. Now, that is the day right before Super Tuesday. In fact, he's going to be tied up in court almost throughout the election season. Is this fair, Congressman?
No, it's not fair. Stuart, everything about the investigations into Trump has been politically motivated. Investigating Donald Trump is like crack cocaine to the Democrats. They can't stop themselves from doing it. If you go back and look when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker recently, everything was involved around investigating Donald Trump. Now they're not in charge anymore, so they're going to the courts to do it. But while the investigation is going into to President Biden, they're now calling, we need to stop these investigations. So look, this is entirely politically motivated, and it's all about stopping Donald Trump from running for president again.
Well, where does this go, Congressman? We've got an aging president, and many voters don't think he's capable of a second term, and a challenger, Donald Trump, who's going to be tied up in court throughout the election season. How do you see this playing out?
Well, what's interesting is you compare the two parties and the candidates. You look at the Republicans, we have a very deep field of very qualified, very good candidates. As you were speaking about earlier, the Democrats are scrambling to find somebody that would be acceptable to their far left base, but also electable to mainstream Democrats and not an embarrassment to their party if they were to become president. So I think the contrast here is we've got a deep field. They're scrambling.
How do they move him aside? Democrats, they really don't want him as the candidate, but how do they move him to the side without ending up with President Harris?
Yeah, President Harris would be an absolute disaster for them, I think worse than what they've seen so far. I think as we get closer, you're going to see more and more Democrats start to turn on President Biden. They're going to realize that he is detrimental to the entire party, to the country, and politically for the next election. They're going to start seeking to remove him. I do not doubt someone at some point will invoke the 25th Amendment, but they have to have a plan to keep Vice President Harris from acceding to the Oval Office.
As I said before, it is a mess. But Congressman, we have Idalia has officially strengthened into a Cat 1 hurricane, making its way up from Florida into your state, Georgia. Do you think this storm has anything to do with climate change?
You know, I'm not a scientist, Stuart, but it's amazing that anything that happens that is bad, the first thing that many want to do is blame it on climate change. But if you look at I think we're on the anniversary of Katrina today, one of the worst storms in history. If it was climate change, if it's continuing to get worse, then would you not see more and more, or this storm being worse and worse? Look, it's generated by the heat in the waters of the Gulf, and they're reportedly being about average for August right now. So whether it's climate change or not, I think that's just something that the Democrats love to throw out there to put more regulation, more bad policy on the backs of American citizens. What we need to focus on is making sure that everyone is prepared. Look, hurricanes are a part of nature. They've been going around since, the beginning of time, since Genesis 1:1. So we know how to deal with these. We need to just focus on saving lives and protecting property.
Congressman, we wish you and your constituents well in the great state of Georgia. Thank you very much for being here, sir.
Thank you, Stuart.
Yes, sir.